wrong, so that was completely my fault. But we're back on a completely separate stream, and I'm now going to frantically delete the old one. We're here at Monza, the Temple of Speed, and I'm joined by SJ, whose name I now know, because I now found it out about 2 minutes ago. And here we are, the Temple of Speed, Monza, one of the fastest, one of the most flowing, and one of the tracks where you see the most overtakes, and a full grid to suit. So this race is going to be absolutely show-stopping, I have no doubts. But SG, what are you expecting as we head into this race?
Yeah, no, like you say, Temple of Speed, it is the Temple of Speed. It's one of those tracks where, like you're saying as well, plenty of overtakes, but that Sector 1 is always the most dangerous part of this track. When you get off the grid straight, you really do have to watch your braking point going into that first sector. There's a lot of wheel banging, but then it actually gives you momentum going on in the track as well. Like you've got Ascari as well, where overtakes can be made, and obviously Parabolica right at the end as well. So some really, really interesting history corners, which we absolutely love. But yeah, looking forward to a lot of overtakes, especially down that lovely third sector of the DRS.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the DRS straights here, they do provide some brilliant overtaking opportunities, but this track lends itself to some pretty good overtaking opportunities itself. Hosted its first race, obviously, all the way back in 1950. This is one of the few tracks that have hosted a race every single year since the championship began. The only other track that springs to mind that has that is the UK. Great Britain at Silverstone. Obviously raced on various layouts, as did this circuit, but we're going to get our first hot laps underway now, and the first hot lap will be with GTZ Cortez. Take us through this lap.
Okay, right, let's have a look. Here we go. He's coming down into the first corner, which is the dangerous one that we look. Rise a little bit at the curves there, coming out. Very nicely done. A lot of traffic in front. There is a lot of cars on track at the moment, so any problems here he does not want to have. I think he looks like he's going past his teammate. Yes, he does. So coming into the lovely sausage curves, you've got to get this right. It's very easy to invalidate if you don't get it right, and you can easily lose it. Dropping off to the 50, now coming round into sector 2, using as much of the track as he possibly can. Dropping onto the 50 again, now coming on to the second part of the DRS, coming towards Ascari, which we will see a lot of overtakes. There you go. Another car on the left-hand side. Bit of traffic going so far, so good. Purple in sector coming through into Ascari. Nicely done on the curbs. Very well done. Very nice movement there. Now coming into Parabolica to the end of his lap. Look at the speed, 330k, dropping down onto the 50, coming around onto Parabolica, watching on the curb, pushes out a little bit left hand side there, being careful not to invalidate, and crossing the line with a 118.882, Byron.
Not a terrible lap to begin. Obviously, these are the first runs of the session, so we're not expecting anything too special. But we are just getting a benchmark down, seeing what that initial lap time does look like, and all of these drivers can be trying to get that all-important toe as they head around this lap. That is obviously worth itself, a few tenths of a second, as Indy Reboots comes around the final bend in the McLaren car, and up to the line now for Indy Reboots. One of those drivers who's had mixed fortunes so far, but at 1:18.526, a very good lap time to begin this qualifying session, and not looking too bad for all of the drivers so far. Just getting that lap time on the board, getting the track time that you need, and just kind of familiarizing yourself with that track. It is important at a track like this where it can be so easy to invalidate, to just warm yourself back up, get back into the groove, and get back fully focused on what's ahead. And all of these drivers going to be focusing fully ahead on this race, which is sure to be exciting, and I cannot wait to watch these drivers continue through this session and into the race. And that DRS train is going to be long, very, very long indeed, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But the benchmark currently set by Indy Reboots, but not far behind, is Marius.
Yes, no, the time here is going to be really interesting. As you can see here, 118 all the way through up to P12 at the moment. Obviously P13 down for P20 that's still new to do laps. Oh, are we going to be seeing an early 117s? Do you think that is doable? A 117.8, 117.9?
I mean, we certainly could get into the 117s. I would potentially expect a couple of drivers to get into that. But I don't think we're going to get too many drivers getting into that margin. That is really going to be quite the feat to get into. Sure, these drivers are going to flat out and push to the absolute upper limit of their performance right at the end. But there's certainly a point to be argued that you don't want to overextend too much. You will lose that lap time. So you've got to be cautious and careful. And I think that's why we won't get too many drivers going into the 117s. But potentially we will see it. But it will just be a matter of waiting and seeing. And I'm waiting and seeing see what Fusilo is going to set. Not a bad lap time so far from the other McLaren. Indy Reboot's obviously currently P1. What can his teammate do? Up to the line now for Fusilo. It is gonna be only 13th, so nearly slowest of the bunch there. 118.945, but everyone so far in the 118s, so not bad. And everyone obviously separated by fine margins, as you would expect in PSGL anyway. But finer still, because it is the tempo of speed. It's even harder to make gains on a track where you're on throttle for so much of the lap. But if you get just an extra mile an hour on an exit of a corner, that is an advantage you will take through for quite a lot of meters. And that is going to add up to quite an advantage.
Yes, no, 100%. Obviously, you're making a bit more time up on each lap every time you go out there. When you then try and go on your bank edge, you're setting a time there and then going out to improve. I guess there's always room to improve at the moment. Obviously, you've still got quite a few people still to go out there, like NLR Justin, Roscoe Carousel. They just invalidated. Miss Slash, Spizer, Twist at the moment, and CPI Top G. They are both on a lap at the moment with his teammate GL Ethan up into P4. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do now. He's just coming through Ascari, going through the last couple of corners and coming onto the lovely main straight there. Not much traffic in front, just the McLaren, everyone moving out the way as well. So how we go, coming around Ascari, how's he going to take this? Let's see if he's going to be able to push some time. He is the only other one on track at the moment, setting a time apart from Top G. So he goes across, there you go, 118.8. So pretty good there for the two Astons in P4 and P6 at the moment, Byron. But still CPI Top G still to set a lap. So it'll be very interesting to see what he can do coming down the last few corners now.
Yeah, I mean, all of these drivers, they're just getting that initial lap time on, but they are trying to extract as much pace as possible. We are going to have a lobby restart because we have got an illegal blocking penalty, so we'll give us at least a little bit of time to, well, unpick this qualifying session. But as we're seeing, Top G there, 5th place, not a bad lap time at all, 118.751. All of these drivers very much, though, just getting that initial lap time on the board. Obviously, quite a few drivers did invalidate on their first runs. That's to be expected. We always expect a couple invalidations. That's simply because these drivers, as much as they keep it within the white line, sometimes you just extend a little bit too much. And at a track like this, where you want to maximise as much as possible, run as wide as possible, sometimes it will catch you out. And unfortunately, that does mean you lose the lap time that you want. But we're getting some more laps underway now. It won't be a little too long until we're going to get some more very, very hot and fast laps coming at you not too far away. I believe it is going to be... Who is it going to be first on a lap? It looks like it's going to be Larper, currently down in 10th place, turn number 1. And nearly going around. Jeez, that was quite a big bit of rear-end instability there for Larper. Clearly something not quite going right on the rear of that car, because unfortunately for Larper, that just did not want to go into that corner. And 1.3 seconds down through the first sector, that is not what you want. And certainly going to be a lap time abandoned there. But Ethan, 4th place as things stand, sector number 1. and a 10th up through there. That is not a bad sector one at all. You really want to take it nicely through there. We obviously haven't got any variable FPS either. Everyone running at a hopefully smooth 60. And as you know, if you remember back earlier on, there was the issue of changing your FPS, making your curbs react differently. Well, we won't have that issue here. And that is very good to know and very reassuring, I'm sure, for all of the drivers, knowing everyone's going to be tackling exactly the same corners in exactly the same way. And if you do something wrong, you'll get exactly the same result as someone else. But as we go through Parabolica, and one of the most famous corners, and Ethan there running extremely wide on the exit as Emlash goes right up to the top there with a 1:18.5 flat, so a very good lap time there from them, and really gonna be putting a bit of pressure on the likes of Indy Reboots, Marios and M. Sapala, who are all in the 1:18.5s, but you know, they've got a driver ahead, they've got something to chase, and they've got quite a bit of time to gain, I think, everyone.
Yeah, there's still a few guys though. Still, we've just seen there that NLR Justin, who's been like invalidating a few, and obviously now pushed himself into P5. He's obviously got his teammate down in P20 as well, who's actually done another invalidation. He's got another 6 minutes to go, so he's the only driver to set a lap there. And NLR Spicer, as we know, oh, he has a bit of a spin coming out of Parabolica. Really unfortunate there. So seems to be struggling a little bit. Be very interesting to see what he can do coming out onto another lap to see if he can. But he's running out of time and he's going to be putting pressure on himself at the moment. But yeah, like you say, Miss Slash there, 1:18.5. Are we going to be seeing a 1:18.4s, 1:18.3s? That's going to be the question. I definitely would say that Trek is really starting to heat up now with around about 5.5 minutes to go. Byron.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. 5.5 minutes to go. Anything could happen for all of these drivers. Obviously, we are getting some drivers making mistakes, and that's to be expected. When you're trying to extract such fine margins out of a car, you really are trying to push as much as possible, and that does sometimes mean you make a little unforced error, a little mistake that you weren't ever expecting to make, but these drivers, they know they just got to reset, come into the pit lane, change those tyres, get onto a fresh set of boots, come back out and extract as much performance from those brand new tyres as you possibly can. And I think that's really going to be what a lot of these drivers are looking to do. The likes of Cortez, who's just invalidated, OP Twist, who isn't setting a representative time right now. All of these drivers are, you know, thinking of a reset, thinking of going for another run and trying to get the maximum out of that run. And we're getting towards those final laps where you're going to put your foot to the floor all the time and make sure you get as much performance. But M. Sapala, 3 temps up there through sector number 2. This could be a fine lap that could take M. Sapala to the top of the times, with a purple sector 2 to suit as we go through and up towards Parabolica, taken very nicely indeed. A lot of drivers have run wide, lost a lap time, or have spun there, but M. Sapala mastering Parabolica there and up to the top of the timings and into the 1:18.4s for the first time. You said, will we get a driver there? Well, we certainly did. And next up could be the 1:18.3s, because that was a blistering lap time from M. Sapala to the top of the times with a healthy improvement there. And that is going to be, well, definitely a lap time that will hold up quite well. And I think M. Sapala still has time to get round and get back in for those final runs to really have an opportunity to put foot to the floor and get the absolute maximum out of this car.
Yeah, no, that is an absolutely phenomenal lap. You could see there, there was just perfection. And I think what they're going to try and do now is these guys are actually going to want to try and get to the top as quick as they can, because that first corner, as we know, lovely Max and Lewis came together on that corner, even just coming out of the pits. But yeah, every car coming down that main straight to that first sector, I think, so they want to really be in front. You don't really want to be behind it. You want to try and get through, take the corner nicely, and then start to get the momentum of the track. So yeah, a very, very good lap by him, and now we're starting to see a lot of the guys out on track. I think the track is starting to get quite busy, and it looks like it is going to be Mislash that will be setting the first flying lap out of everyone. But here they all come now. Look at them. It's like a rainbow, or a train of a rainbow. They are all out on track, so this could get quite juicy. If anyone makes any mistakes, this is going to get very interesting as well, because it can easily put you off your time. But at the moment, it's looking very, very tight between, well, from P1 all the way down. It's literally 3.5 tenths in it, Byron.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, absolutely. These drivers, such fine margins separating everyone, and obviously Emlash going to be the first driver to set a lap time. That's not necessarily a good thing, but you know, it's the hand that you've been dealt, and you've kind of got to roll with it, roll with the punches per se. And I think Emlash going to be getting the first lap time on the board. I was wondering if we would see Sapala again. I think we might be about to see them come out the pit lane. I'm not sure if they've got enough time. Sapala there out the pit lane now could potentially hold up some drivers here, potentially, if you're Sapala coming out the pit lane right now, just coming into shot there of Emlash, so could potentially hold up some drivers on this outlap. But Emlash, the first driver to set a lap time, and very nice through this first sequence of corners. Turn number 1 is arguably one of the more difficult corners on this track, but all of the corners are relatively difficult in terms of you can invalidate absolutely anywhere here. I mean, you can invalidate on a straight at a track like Monza, and it is called the Temple of Speed for a reason. You go blisteringly quick around this circuit, and all of these drivers are going to be trying to go as blisteringly quick on this final run as they humanly can. And Emlash now, the second DRS straight. This is the first driver to set a lap time right towards the end of the session, and I think Sapala it might be having to push on a little bit in this outlap, knowing that the clock is getting ever lower, and there might not be quite enough time to really get those tyres into the ideal and preferred window that you might like, and that is exactly the pressure that Sapala is under right now. Just 20 seconds left on the clock. Emlash, the first driver to set the final runs here and up to the line. Emlash, is it an improvement? It is not an improvement there for Emlash, who is next across the line. I believe it is Rosso. It is Rosso up to the top of the timing sheet by 1,000th of a second. What a fine margin there for Rosso Carselli. That is a brilliant lap time there for the Alfa Romeo in a show-stopping lap. That was a beautiful lap taken there from the Alfa Romeo driver there. But can Sapala respond? Sapala on a hot lap now was the driver behind Carselli, down a tenth in the first sector. It is the final driver to set a lap time here. Can anyone else seem to improve? LRB improves by 2.5 tenths, but it is only 14th there. Top G are nearly 2 tenths up there as you come through the final few corners as well. And a twist as well. Now up to the line, everyone kind of filtering through. That's Marius Formula 1 up to third there, a 1:18.455. Twist up to fifth with a 1:18.5 flat. Very nice lap time indeed. Who else is going? Top G up to fourth. What a lap time there from the Ferrari driver. I believe now the only driver setting a representative lap time is Sapala. Is Sapala improving? No, not quite on this lap. So that would be our results from qualifying. It is Rosso Carselli on pole position for Rosso. That is a brilliant lap time for them, and the chat is going a little bit crazy over Rosso Carselli on pole position, and what a lap to take it by 1,000th of a second. See, Jay, blah, blah, if my words were wording. What a lap.
Yeah, fantastic that. Like, literally fine margins, and that is fine margins. 1/1000th of a second takes P1 there. And Marius was doing quite well as well. So it's a really, really good performance by the Alfa Romeo in P1 and P3 there. And obviously, Maspala did go out again, but obviously didn't improve on his time, but he did enough to take that P2. But yeah, some really, really good times there. We did see the 1:18.4, so yeah. Top job there, and like you said, the chat is going mad. I reckon this guy may be Brazilian.
That is a pretty accurate hunch, I would presume, given the absolute amount of support that this, well, Carcelli is getting. What a lap time, though. We will be having a lobby restart, so we are about, well, 5-10 minutes away from the racing action, but fine margins at the top then. It was Rosso Carcelli on pole position by 1/1000th of a second ahead of M. Sapala. Marius Formula 1 completing an Alfa Romeo 1-3. What a result that is. Obviously that grid penalty for M. Sapala will not apply. We will have a lobby restart for that. But yeah, Marius in third. Top G there. The lead of the CPI drivers there in fourth place. Devon in fifth there. Aston Martin coming in sixth with Twist. Emlash in seventh. Kahilu there in eighth. Hazara ninth. Indy Reboots in 10th, and Justin just falling outside of the points playing positions for the grid. But as I said, we are going to have a lobby restart, an opportunity for these drivers to just maybe make a few cheeky setup tweaks before the race and think about what really they want to do about this race. And we are looking a little bit overcast at the circuit, so one must wonder if it is potentially going to rain at any point in this race. Hello to the 36 of you who are watching us live from wherever you are watching us around the world. Everyone leaving the session, well, everyone leaving the session as things stand, because we're going to be getting some action underway shortly. In fact, I think I might have desynced actually, because I don't think everyone did just leave out of nowhere. But we will be getting underway for some action very, very soon. SJ, what are you expecting as we head to this race?
I'm expecting a lot. I'm expecting the Alfa Romeos to work together, obviously being in a really, really good position there, both teammates together in P1 and P3. It'll be very interesting to see if Maspalo is going to be able to try and take Carcelli off the start, who's going to get the better traction or better grip going into the first corner. Is everyone going to get through really nicely on the first corner as well? Because then it then starts to gain your momentum going into the race. Yeah, I think it's going to be a really, really good one. The conditions as well. Yeah, that does look like it could be a little bit overcasty. Could be having a bit of rain. That could change a bit of the dynamics, because the corners here obviously they can be deadly just and dry, but they can also be very deadly in the wet, as we saw a few guys making mistakes from Parabolica right at the end of their lap. So making a little bit wet on that track could put the grip to ease there, and put a few problems with some of the guys as well. Spicer was an unfortunate one there. I think he retired at the end. They didn't manage to get a lap out, I think, at all. So he'll definitely want to improve as well. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really, really good race. I'm looking forward to it, and looking forward to seeing what the weather conditions can do. That's going to be the interesting one, I think.
Yeah, well, it would have been an interesting one. However, I have just popped a cheeky message into the Discord chat to see if it was gonna potentially rain at any point in the race, and unfortunately it looks like it's just gonna be cloudy, overcast, no rain expected. But could you imagine if it was to rain? That would have been absolutely increased. That would have been pretty fun as well, as these drivers tackle a tricky circuit at the best of times and one difficult to extract performance, and then you go and add rain to it. Why not? Would it be even more dramatic and even more fun? I am sure, but I think we're just waiting on a new lobby invite. I'm kind of hoping it comes within the next couple of seconds. I've been told there is an invite coming in a minute, so we'll kind of just keep talking and debriefing that qualifying session. And I think there's going to be one disappointed Hazara, all the way down in 9th place. Last race, Marios and Hazara were tied on points going into it. Marios now leads by 2 points, but after qualifying, Marios is 3rd and Hazara is 9th. That's quite the point swing that could go in the favour of Marios if it was to finish as they qualify. There's going to be quite a bit of disappointment, I think, for Hazara, but probably a bit of elation, I think, for Marios. You've got a teammate ahead who can work with you, and you've got a good car, good pace, and the guy who you want to be is behind you.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, you've got it spot on there. I think it's all about making room and making improvements going forward. Obviously, I saw him in Las Vegas as well and had a really, really good race. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they can do. The guys that have made mistakes tonight, you're definitely going to see an improvement from these guys. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I think the main one is going to be that top. You know, are the Alfa Romeos going to be able to work together and try and keep to where they are? What's the strategy going to be? Are they both going to go on the same strategy? Is it going to be alternative strategies? Is Maspala going to get the help from Cortez further on in the race? What's he going to do very early on? There's a lot of fundamentals going into it, but you've got to nail your start at Monza, because as soon as you nail your start, it'll then give you traction to go for the rest of the race. So I'm looking for a very juicy first battle into the first corner, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be juicy. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. These drivers going to be battling hammer and tong, tooth and nail, as always. And, well, no surprise that there are going to be some drivers disappointed, some drivers excited, some drivers maybe looking for a little bit more out of this race. And I think plenty of drivers going to be looking to make those all-important moves forward. You really do have to feel, though, for M. Sapala. I think, as much as it would have been nice to have been first, maybe being second isn't bad. Losing it by 1,000th of a second, gutting. I mean, as someone who's lost races by fine margins in the past, it is painful to lose by such a small margin. But you've got the fact that you can look forward and go, well, my pace is good, was only lost pole by 1,000th. Let's see what I can do in the race. And you're losing it to a driver who's a bit more of an unknown quantity. We haven't seen this driver before. I don't believe they've ever raced in PSGL in PlayStation F3. So all of these drivers don't know anything about this driver. And it provides a very interesting scenario where it's a bit of an unknown. And that's going to be an unknown that I think a lot of drivers are going to be ever so slightly tentative and maybe even a little bit scared of.
Yeah, I do agree. And obviously looking at the standings as well, you've obviously got Marius at the moment with the lead with 40 points, and then you've got Hazara down with 29, and obviously Spicer and Top G down with 24 and 22. So the guys that are actually at the top obviously aren't near the top of the standings, so this could be massive for them going into their championship as well. But obviously those guys at the top, they will be the ones to watch out for. And as you know, Marios is in the Alfa Romeo, so he is. Does Caroselli move over and help Marios? What's going to be the situation there, especially when Marios is at the top at the moment of the championship? So that could be another interesting one. That could be strategy coming to a T as well. And then you've also, like you were talking about, Hazara as well. Is he going to be able to get through the pack pretty quick and get onto a podium spot? And Top G looking quite close to the top as well. Up in, I think he was in that P5. So yeah, some of these guys going to be very interesting, and you can see here Maspala down in P2 all the way down in 22nd on the standings. So he's definitely going to want to improve on his standings battle at the moment, which he's having with no points currently. So is this going to be the first week that he gets points? We'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely, as I minimise the loading screen as much as possible by waiting for the grid to all be set up and ready. And I'm in, so we can now begin to ready up as we get eagerly awaiting to the action in Monza. This circuit is a fan favourite for a reason. This is a circuit known for overtakes, it is known for pace, it is known for speed, it is the temple of speed for a reason. We're heading for 27 laps of this track very, very shortly. We're getting all the drivers ready. They've all got their grid spots assigned. It will be Rosso Caroselli on debut on pole position here in PlayStation F3, but there are drivers eagerly looking to try and overtake Sapala, losing it by 1,000th. There is going to be blood in the eyes of Sapala. These drivers, they've got a setup to make. They've got a strategy to choose. But at the end of the day, it will come down to who has the raw pace. Here we go then. To Monza we go. 27 laps of the Temple of Speed. SJ. This track, it's known for speed, and it's known for overtakes. It's also known for a long, long DRS train. How many overtakes, how much drama are you expecting?
I'm expecting a lot. I'm expecting a lot of overtakes, but I'm also going to expect a lot of patience in the first few laps. You know, I reckon the guys will start to get like a little bit of an idea of how their race is going to go with the momentum. But yeah, it's going to be interesting on tyre strategy as well. Do you go the softs? Do you go the hards? Do you go for the faster strategy at the end? You know, safety car. We may see maybe one safety car. We could see two. It's going to be very interesting here that some of the corners can make you spin. But I reckon it's going to be very interesting. I think the main question is going to be that top three. You know, are the Alfa Romeos going to get a 1-2 from the start? Are they going to drop positions? Is Masparla going to be able to attack on that first corner? That's going to be the question. But yeah, no, looking for a very fun and overtaking galore, especially down that last sector coming around Parabolica. That is, yeah, you're going to have some serious overtakes there if the guys are very, very close behind. But they're going to have to watch that braking point going into that sector one. That's going to be the one, because if you miss that braking point, you're definitely going to have to go off into the runoff area, which we've seen a few guys do in the real life and on the game as well.
Absolutely. I mean, that turn one, especially in the game, if you don't slow down quite enough, the game will just decide, have a penalty. I've had enough of you, and there you go, 5 seconds or 3 seconds, and your race is ruined. So I really hope for these drivers' sake that doesn't happen, because it would be gutting for your race to end before it even really started, because you've been hit with a penalty that pretty much guarantees you no points, especially with fine margins like this, like Monza. But we are very much heading towards the race start, and do get your predictions in for the race win. Who are you cheering on? Come on, Indy. Yes, Indy. Vamos, Caroselli. Indy Reboots, you can do it. So a lot of support for Indy Reboots and, well, Caroselli. So it's very interesting. These drivers, well, two drivers being cheered on very, very heavily. And I mean, both drivers didn't have a terrible qualifying in the slightest. I mean, you can't say Caroselli had a poor qualifying in the slightest. Pole position on debut is all you can dream of. And Caroselli absolutely going to be elated with that. Sapala, Justin, and Spitzer is also someone else's predictions. So certainly a lot of cheering all around. But here we go. 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go here in the Temple of Speed. And Caroselli gets away well. Sapala, though, alongside maybe just a slightly better start there for Sapala. But in the second phase, Caroselli with a better getaway there. Caroselli holds it into turn number 1. Sapala thinks about a move around the outside, but nothing worth doing on that particular occasion. Top G and Marius Formula 1 go side by side now as we head along, and look at the speed on Top G, blasting past Sapala there and up into second place in this race. Let's have a little look at the tyre compounds. Everyone is running, most drivers opting for the hard compound tyres, but Spicer, Butalo, India Reboots all on the soft tyres, and then the medium sport LRB. Some drivers already choosing to use quite a bit of ERS in the early stages of this race. There's other drivers choosing not to, but it is Rosso Caroselli who leads us away on lap number 1, half of a second there. The gap already, so Caroselli really getting a wriggle on in this race, but not using too much battery to do that. So very nice opening lap here for Caroselli on debut, may I add. What a very good first lap. So leading a lap in your first race, that is something ticked off your bingo card, and what a way to do it, especially at such an iconic track. As we go down into turn number 1 for the first time on lap number 2, and it is Spicer moving ahead there of LRB as Cuselo does the same to Cortez. These soft tyres, they're going to give you pace early on in the race, but it won't be long until they start to go off, and well, we're going to begin to get this DRS train forming in the not so distant future. But what an opening so far, and Caroselli leading the way.
Yeah, Devon and Twist having a bit of a lovely battle there. Devon's got a really good grip coming out into sector 2 there, but unfortunately Twist didn't be able to get the move done. Very, very close there between those two. Marius as well in P4 at the moment, trying to get to the back of Paspala. As you can see, everyone from P1 all the way down on P9 on those hards, and like you're saying, Top G, a very, very good start by him up into P2 at the moment. 4.5 tenths behind Roscoe Caroselli at the moment. It's going to be very interesting to see with the DRS, but Paspala is really burning a little bit of that ERS, trying to get the move, and here we're going to go. We're going to start to see some of the guys getting very, very close here. The battle between Devon and Twist is still going to go on as well, so keep an eye on that. But here we go. Maspala is 2.5 tenths behind Top G. He is gearing up and waiting for the move, but at the moment, as you're saying, and Top G is really trying to push. Is he even going to go for the move on the first? No, he's not. He's just going to stick back for the time being. Just wait, give a bit of a momentum. But at the moment, coming into that sector 1, the guys on the first corner are actually missing their braking points a little bit and not getting the traction, which is slowing them down, which is again getting the car behind to get closer. So I reckon we're going to start to see some moves in the next few laps, Byron.
Yeah, absolutely. We did see there in the background Griglig go for a spin at turn number 1 all the way down to 20th. But because these drivers are so close and so compact, it really doesn't take you very long to catch back up to the end of this train. So drivers already keeping very close and very compact in this race. Everyone, except obviously Griglig, who did have that mistake there, separated by less than 5 tenths of a second. So fine margins already. And well, that 5-tenth advantage that Caroselli did have come the end of lap number 1, it hasn't fruitioned into much more, because Top G has been able to keep close and gain ever so slightly. But still, everyone wishing Indy Reboots and Caroselli a good race here. And obviously Indy Reboots, he's not raced for a few races, he is only a reserve driver, and Caroselli, I believe, is the same, but both drivers having a good showing so far. But Top G there goes down the inside on Rosso Caroselli there and up into P1 as things stand. But fine margins there as Ethan there loses places after having a tangle there. I believe that was with the likes, and Cortez with a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. What did I say? I said that your race could be over before it even started if you cut and got a penalty, and that is exactly what's happened, and Cortez has collided there. I believe that is with Ethan there, and both drivers have got damage. There's big damage there to Ethan. Cortez, I believe, was the instigator in that incident, and both of these drivers having a terrible day in the office thus far. Surprised there wasn't a safety car there, because that was quite the impact and quite the incident. But these drivers scrapping away, but the action continues on the track, thankfully, and no safety car or any sort of instigator on that particular occasion, but Top G 7 tenths ahead of Caroselli now as we go on to lap number 5.
Yeah, Caroselli making a mistake there, coming out of Scary, getting too close to Top G. Actually, I think he may have tapped him. He then put himself under pressure from Espada behind. As you can see as well, Devin losing out to Twist, but look at the battles behind. You've got Devin and Slash, both Alpha Toy teammates working together, but the Haas comes on the outside and the Cesare, and he tucks in through past me Slash there. A lovely little move there. He's like, thank you very much. I'm just going to come right on the outside, but the battle is starting to fall away from Caroselli now. Top G is 9.5 tenths, so Mispala is going to come under Caroselli is going to come under extreme pressure from Mispala, which could be in trouble here because Top G is out of the DRS of Caroselli, so keep on board with Mispala. Is he going to get a very good run off here? Here we go, the DRS coming up into Ascari. I don't think he's going to get the move done. He got very, very close last time, but yeah, starting to pull away now. So going to be very interesting with Mispala getting that P2. As you can see, Caroselli is under extreme pressure now from Mispala, and his Top G has basically gone. He's 1.3.5 seconds in front, and we're definitely going to see a move coming round in Parabolica now. So Caroselli 1.3, Mispala gonna gain a lot of the DRS, and there you go, easy does it, straight past, thank you very much. And that's going to bring Marios into it as well, who is just behind his teammate, who actually just sticks into formation behind him. Ooh. And I think these two are going to work together. Back to you, Byron.
Yeah, I just noticed there as Mstapala came through turn number 1, gained so much time on Top G there, down that DRS straight with that advantage, but lost it all in the braking zone because the rear end on Mstapala, just like it did in qualifying, just went. There was absolutely no grip on the rear end, and you just slid through turn number 1, and there was just no pace, and you lost a lot of advantage, a lot of pace, and a lot of what was gained through that DRS straight, through that amazing and very fast overtake, has just been undone, unlost. Well, all lost, and well, unfortunately for Mstapala, it means that the gap has actually grown between Top G and Mstapala there, and well, now Maris Formula 1 is very much in the hunt here, as Caroselli, unfortunately, is down to 4th, so the Caroselli fans have immediately switched off and decided, no, time to go home, but do not go home, because Caroselli and everyone else still in the field, except probably maybe Ethan, is still in with a very good hunt and a very good chance in this race. But Marios now overtaking Mstapala, unsurprisingly, and Caroselli likely to make a move here as well into turn number 1. Caroselli side by side, all touching ever so slightly there, with Mstapala running onto the grass ever so slightly, so gonna lose a bit of time there. And on the exit, unfortunately, Caroselli gonna lose a few tenths of a second more than you would have wanted to, and unfortunately that does mean Caroselli is 7 tenths behind Mstapala, was nearly ahead of Mstapala there as well. And Marios, by the way, within DRS range of Top G, and that is the difference that a driver can make with that DRS. You really can catch up and get within DRS, and that is exactly what Marios has done, and very nicely done, and back into the hunt for the race lead, and this really brings everyone back into this train again.
Yeah, definitely, and also going a little bit further down in that P6, 7, 8th and 9th, that's really starting to heat up. Obviously, you've got Indy Roosbert on those softs at the moment, but Hazara is starting to make places up very, very quickly. He's up into P6 as well, just got past Mislash as well, and he's trying to make another move as well. So the two other toys doing really well in Devon and Mislash at the moment, got very, very close making that overtake, and Roscoe Caroselli has gone round, so his fans have definitely left the chat, because he's now all the way down in P17. He's lost it in Ascari, which now brings Devin up into P4, Hazara into P5, and his race has gone from bad to worse. He was the hero at the beginning, and now he is now at the back of the grid, which is really unfortunate. But Marios is going to try and make the move on CPI Top G coming into the sausage curb. Here we go. Doesn't quite get it at the moment, but he's going to get very good slipstream coming up to the second part of the DRS, which is coming up in a couple of corners. He's just sticking with him at the moment, both on 7-lap hards. As you can see, those overcast conditions, still no rain, makes a little bit of a snap there coming out. But here we go, up towards Ascari, burning some ERS, trying to get the move done. Is he going to get the job done? Let's have a look. He's getting very, very close. That's now also brought Mispala into the battle as well, and he is very, very close. We are going to have a very interesting battle coming through to Parabolica, going on to the last part of the DRS on the lovely main straight going into turn 1. Let's have a look what we're going to see here. Mispala getting very, very close to Marios. CPO Top G has got no chance here. He's got no one in front of him. He cannot gain any DRS in front of no one, so it's all Marios and Mispala, and they're literally right behind each other. There you go. Marios moves over to the left. Mispala tries to get the slipstream to get that position as well, but Top G just covers it. So some great battling going on there, but one to watch out for at the moment, Byron, is Hazara. He is starting to make places up left, right and centre, and he is coming from Mispala.
Absolutely. I mean, Hazara, a proven and known quantity for amazing race pace. Not always qualifying pace is the strong suit for Hazara, but as you said, up to 4th there, having just got past Devin there, and already catching very nicely up to the back of these the top 3 now. And if you are a Caroselli fan, please don't change off, because Caroselli very much still in the chance of points on debut. Obviously, there's a lot to happen between now and the checker flag. We're only a third of the way through this race, so please don't switch off. And although it is disappointing to always see your driver further down the order, there is a lot that can happen between now and that all-important checker flag, and Hazara might be about to lend a few drivers a favour and get into the top 3 battle, and therefore extends the DRS train all the way down to 13th place if Hazara manages to do that, but not quite managing to do it on this particular occasion, but keeping very, very close, and within 1.2 seconds now of Msapala up in front, as we now keep watching on as drivers keep this train going ever so longer, but no change for the lead on that particular lap. Mario's just doing enough to keep first place there into turn number 1, but Hazara has managed to get within 1 second of Msapala, and that really opens this race wide open to a lot more action and a lot more overtakes, because, well, you've now got a train from P1 all the way down to 13th place in this race, and the entire field, except Ethan, I believe, separated by less than, well, 15 seconds, I believe. So, beautiful stuff so far in this race. In fact, actually, the entire field separated by nearly less than 10 seconds. So, quite the amazing opening to this race.
Yeah, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And this looks like this could be some big points for Mispala. After we were talking earlier on with standings, obviously no points at the moment, but he looks very, very comfortable. He looks to be quicker in Top G in a few corners as well, but we're about to see what's going to happen. We saw no moves on lap 10. They're coming up to lap 11. Mispala just lining up Top G again. Top G not making a move on Marius. You can see he's gaining a bit of momentum now. This is going to start to be interesting. Any mistake here, and anyone can get through. Hazara is now 4.5 tenths. That was a 1.5 second gap. He has knocked that down to 4.5 tenths, maybe because of how close these 3 guys have been battling, Mispala, Top G and Marius, but still no moves. And don't forget the rest of the grid down at the back there. We've got Facilo 97 just coming for the pits, going on to those mediums as well. One retirement of GTZ Cortez in the Williams. That's unfortunate for him. 2 guys on the soft on Indy Roosevelt and NLR Spicer. And Spicer doing a really, really good show at the moment, coming from last 11 at the moment, so still moves going on there. Indy Roosevelt as well, he's probably the closest apart from Mispala to Top G at the moment. He is very, very close to Mislash as well, so we're going to start to probably see some pit stops in the next 3 to 4 laps to make some decisions what they're going to do, but who's it going to be? That's going to be the question, Byron. Is it going to be Marius, Top G or Mispala, or is it going to be all 10 at the same time?
Wow, I mean, it potentially could be all 10 at the same time. I mean, would be a bit surprising if the soft drivers managed to keep those tyres lasting that long, but there is, well, certainly a lot that can happen as Indy Reboots, funnily enough, comes off with soft tyres and will lose a lot of places, but get onto some fresh tyres, and, well, those softs were beginning to go off, and that pace was beginning to drop, and, well, the Indy Reboots there choosing that now is the best time. The undercut, though, is quite powerful around a circuit like this. There is a lot of time to be lost or won in the pit lane, especially at such a fast track. If you really can get those tyres up to temperature, heated and very nice and grippy, you can certainly gain a lot of time around this sort of track. So it'll be interesting to see what advantage some of these drivers will get by pitting ever so slightly earlier, but Top G inching ever closer to the back of Marios, and Emstapala doing exactly the same, and all of these drivers keeping very, very close indeed to one another, and well, it's still very much a case of anyone could win, anything could happen between now and the checkered flag. I mean, I'm looking at the likes of Indy Reboots, and he is gaining a lot on the driver in front of him, which is obviously Caroselli, who had that incident, and that is Marios into the pit lane. I feel like that's a little bit early, the pit stop from those hard compound tyres, given Spicer is still on the softs that you started the race on, so definitely onto the mediums. Personally, for me, I would go for the hard soft if I was driving this race. Personally, I think that would be a pretty good strategy, or a medium soft, which is another strategy you definitely can do, but clearly reacting to Indy Reboots and the pit stop there, and clearly that undercut working very well, because Marios, who obviously came in from the race lead, is, well, there's a safety car, and oh no, that has changed the entire race. The entire dynamic of this race has just changed in the incident, because Spicer has retired just moments after some drivers have pitted, like Marios, and now we've got a safety car, and that has just thrown this entire race into complete disarray, because Top G, Emstapala, Hazara, Devin, Justin, Me/, Kahilu, Twist, LRB, Lapa, and Caroselli, who all hadn't pitted in this race, now can pit, cheaper pit stop, and you're pretty much going to hold position. If you lose any places, it's only going to be a couple, because everyone's trundling around at very slow speeds, especially for a track that's so quick.
Yes, no, obviously one thing happens and that's it, everything changes. Just on that note though, Hazara did make up that another spot, did get past Devon into P3. Where is he going to come out? This is going to be the question. Is he going to lose a few more places? He actually stays P3, so there you go, it stays exactly the same as you were saying. And how many spots is he going to miss? Is he going to be able to gain any? It looks like he's not going to gain that many. As you can see, they all have to stay on that pit lane straight on the right-hand side. And there you go. Actually loses a lot of places. So that's unfortunate. He's on the off-fresher top, well, technically on the fresher tyre, because those will be up to temperature than the rest of them before they get on the safety car restart. But yeah, Marios is the biggest loss there out of everyone. But Top G, Maspalo and Hazara stay within the same formation that they were in before. But very, very good race by Top G at the moment. Has been able to keep on to that lead the last few laps. Maspala didn't really go for any moves, and Hazara has been trying to make his way up. So I would say Hazara is the one to watch out for in this race. He has made up so many places. And he is looking very, very quick here at Monza.
Yeah, absolutely. And this entire race now being neutralised, everyone's got a bit of an equal opportunity, I think, for the rest of this race. I'm a bit surprised that Ethan didn't come into the pit lane there for a change of tyres. Currently been running 9 laps on those soft tyres. I personally would have changed, but Ethan, I think, is another one of those drivers who has gained quite a bit from this pit stop, because they were 40 seconds off the field And, well, thanks to that safety car, is now going to be at the back of the field and in the hunt for potentially some points, because everyone's going to be in the hunt for some points, I think, here in this race, because there's very little that you can do wrong under this sort of safety car conditions, because everyone's bunched up, and when the lights go green, if you've got the pace, you'll move up the field, and you will move up the field very, very nicely indeed. So it provides a bit of a reset and a bit of an opportunity for Ethan, for Caroselli, for Griglig, all three of whom who've not had the nicest of times. Fuselo comes into the pit lane, as does Evil, and I would be expecting Ethan to be doing the same, as Ethan does exactly what I predicted there. So those three come into the pit lane. Does mean we'll get the safety car probably for another lap after this one, I would have thought, but these drivers, they'll be on slightly fresher tyres, and, you know, they'll catch back up, and everyone will be relatively neutral in terms of their pace. So we're going to get a pretty good end to this race, absolutely, because we're going to have drivers out of position, everyone kind of scrapping away, but everyone running till the end of the race, I would think, except maybe LRB.
Yeah, just looking at a few of the situations on the fuel. I'm just looking at Hazara's fuel, and he is in that yellow, so he may have underfueled, so he's probably going to have to ease off and try and gain some fuel back on the safety car to get to the end there. So that could be a little bit concerning for him at the moment in P3. But yeah, like you said, we have to battle with the DRS train all the way down from P1 down to P12. Now we've got a massive DRS train from P1 to P18. Are we going to start to see some desperation from some of the guys going into the closing stages of the race? Because it could be like this for 5 to even to 10 laps, and we could have someone trying to make the move on the last few laps to take the win of this race. It's looking likely that Marios is obviously the one that's really suffered. Alfa Romeo has not gone to plan for them, obviously, with a pit stop, and then Caroselli's little spin. He's pushed himself back up to P13. Are we going to start to see a bit of a jump from them? We know that they've been pretty quick. Do you think Hazara is going to be able to take top G on Mispala? Is Mispala going to take top G? There's so many questions, even though there's still quite a lot of time left of the race, Byron.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of questions to be answered, and unfortunately, as much as we'd love that, we don't have any of the answers for you right now, because we're just as clueless as you as to what potentially could be going on as we build up to the end of this race. But as we are still under this safety car conditions, there really isn't much more that we can tell you, as everyone just kind of bunches up behind the safety car. This will be our final lap under safety car though, so nothing really to talk about except those drivers who obviously have lost out quite a bit. Marios obviously being the biggest loser. He did go all the way from first down to 7th. That safety car so poorly timed for Marios, unfortunately. That safety car just didn't come out at the right time. Nothing to capitalise on, and it really did hamper the chances of a race win, which has brought a lot of drivers back in though. As I said, Ethan, Griglig and Caroselli, those three drivers, they weren't looking like they were going to have a good day in the office. Well, now they've got an opportunity to have a good day in the office. It's a reset. It's a mental reset, if anything. These drivers have an opportunity. By the way, Hazara, there was concerns about the fuel, back in the green. So clearly, Hazara did underfuel, but maybe planned for a safety car. And then when the safety car came, an opportunity to save and still be underweight versus the other cars in the field. So, if anything, maybe a bit of a stroke of genius for the likes of Hazara, who definitely has quite benefited from that safety car period. But we are going to be getting underway for green flag running, as my voice is pretty much deciding it wants to give up right at the moment when I need it the most. So this is quite tragic indeed, but here we are. We're going to push on because my voice is just about recovered, and Top G is going to lead the way on this safety car restart. Can Ferrari win at the Temple of Speed? Well, we got 11 laps as we come across the line to go in this race. Top G leading the way there, and Sapala ahead there of Hazara. Hazara though, thinking about an overtake. A bit of desync there comes in there. I believe that was on top G there. A bit of desync there as OP Twist gets ahead of Indy Reboots. Caroselli there battling away with Lapa down there in 12th and 13th. The desync, I think, might be just generally milling about a little bit because for some reason everyone seems to be zipping about a little bit on the race circuit. A little bit of chaos to add to my broadcast just because there wasn't ever enough chaos at all. I certainly know it's not my Wi-Fi giving me any hardships, so someone in this lobby has got a bit of a dodgy signal going on. But Top G still leading away 2.5 temps though, 2 temps now ahead of Emspala. Emspala thinking, maybe wanting to size up an overtake for the race lead, but nothing worth doing on this occasion for Emspala, but ever very close. No one outside of DRS. The entire field, I believe, separated by such small margins. The entire field separated by 6 seconds here as we're coming up to the end of the first lap of green flag running since that safety car restart. We'll go around one more time before DRS will be enabled, but that won't stop anyone thinking about an overtake or even attempting an overtake as we go down into turn number 1. Once again, everyone keeping very, very close indeed. Anyone close enough for an overtake. OP Twist has made contact with Indy Reboots there. Indy Reboots has gone around, and that is to the back of the grid for Indy Reboots. That is 18th place and a disappointing time and a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting after losing easily 10 seconds there, getting spun around by Twist, and that is a miserable things happen in the race there for Indy Reboots, and that just adds insult to injury for Indy Reboots, who everyone has been cheering on for so long in this stream, and they were looking at points, and it's all unravelled. Once again, Indy Reboots just can't get any luck. Just can't get any luck.
No, definitely not. Down in P18, and obviously his teammate SHZ Tilo in 15th as well, so not the best start for McLaren at the moment. But going back up to the top, as you're saying, still together. NLR Justin has had a little bit of a go on Devin coming down the lovely last main straight going into the turn 1. Doesn't seem to have got it done at the moment. Mispala trying to get a bit closer to Top G. I think he's just maybe waiting for that DRS. We're coming up to around about 8 laps left of this race. We're coming to the big 2-0 very, very shortly on the next lap. But at the moment, pretty close between each other. We're probably going to start to see moves happening very, very soon with the DRS enabled. As you can see, everyone down from P5, all ERS is around about 100%, near enough, just under. You can see Devin there pushing to about 78%. That is because of Justin being very, very close to him on the last few laps as well. But Marius still in with a shout here. Unfortunately, Mislash getting that penalty as well, so that's not going to help him. That could make his race even worse. And talking about the McLaren driver, Indy Reboot as well, another 3 seconds down in P18 at the moment. But as I am talking about that, Mispala is getting closer to Top G, so he is lining him up for this move, which DRS will be enabled, but Hazara is lining Mispala up. So we could have 3 people lining each other up. As you can see, Hazara very close to Mispala's back car now. He is 2.5 temps. Mispala is 2.5 temps with Top G. Here we go. We're going to see some ERS burn. We're going to see the DRS come into action. Hazara is going to make the first move. He's going to move to the right-hand side. He's going to get the slipstream, but that stuffed him up. Has he got the move done? Oh, he has to really watch the brakes. He's going to go side by side with Top G. Top G's gone round. He's down into the P5. He's had a bit of a snap there, and I think he hit one of the back of the cars. So Hazara's up into P2. So a little bit of drama there, and Top G is going to be fuming with that Byron.
Yeah, absolutely. Top G going to be absolutely livid with what just happened as he battled there with Justin and just can't get any good luck because Top G then goes around once again after going side by side there with Top G and all the way down now to 15th place, and that is just insult. Such an insult. You had one incident and then you've had a second and now you've just lost so much momentum so much time and so much of what could have been a great race. Good news though, if you're a Caroselli fan, because Caroselli a couple laps ago did overtake ARB, who has made a mistake since, and with Top G going around, is now putting Caroselli in 9th place. So 2 points there could be going the way of Caroselli on debut. So not a bad result there for Caroselli, the Brazilian there, who has been getting a lot of support so far in this stream. And Caroselli could be about to try and make it 8th place, potentially, but not quite close enough to make an overtake there, as I believe that was Marios making a move there on Kahilu. No, I think that was Kahilu attempting an overtake on Marios, actually. So quite a battle going on here. As I nearly died.
Got to get the move. We did get the move on Kiryu there. It was Justin that just got the move as well on Marios. So a few moves in that 4th and 5th. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but just by there that you know that was the moves there. And Marios was in P6 now into P5.
Very nice indeed. We are building very much towards the end of this race, and there's a lot of drivers here who have been hunting some points positions. Marius obviously lost quite a lot of positions under that safety car, but has climbed his way up to 5th as things stand, and potentially some more moves to come for some drivers in this race. But here we are as we go down the main straight once again, that iconic podium that Abu Dhabi might have stolen for their own, as Devin there pulls out. Thinks about an overtake on Hazard, but not able to do anything on that particular occasion. And all these drivers kind of stagnating, battling, but still holding on to the battery, holding on to the charge, and thinking about the late game, and thinking about what could happen later on in this race as Ethan and Evil have tangled in this race. And Ethan, he's just not had a good race at all, and all the way down in 17th now, had an opportunity to potentially move up and get some points, but unfortunately it's not fruition for Evil, and down in 17th. Only 2 retirements so far though, so definitely been a good battle on in this race thus far, and there's certainly probably a fair few more battles to go, as Caroselli has overtaken and is up into 7th place now. Caroselli on a move, on the hunt, and on a charge now, up to 7th place there for Caroselli. 1.8 seconds back off Kahilu there for 6th place, but having overtaken Twist and Meslash there in the span of 1 lap, that is a brilliant showing there for Caroselli so far. Caroselli obviously thinking maybe about even more points in this race, and probably hoping there's enough pace in the car to try and hunt down those in front for even more points in this race. But who knows what is going to happen. We are building towards the end of this race, and there are a lot of drivers who are going to be hunting, fighting, and really going for every little bit of pace, every overtake, and every opportunity that they possibly can in this race. And I think Caroselli is going to be one of them.
Yeah, you're saying about Caroselli though, he's 2 seconds behind, and obviously with the battling between P6 all the way up into P1, which is pretty close, you know, it's literally 5.5 tenths. Well, if just looking into leader there, it's literally, I'm just looking now, it's 2 seconds to the leader, so he's got an opportunity to gain that. Problem that he's got is his ERS. He has burnt a lot of ERS. He's now down into 24% ERS, and then you've got Kira Siolu with 66, Marios with 65, Justin with 78, Devin with 92, Hazara with 100, and Maspala with 70. So, yeah, it's going to be difficult. He's starting to reel it in slowly. Still around about 2.3 seconds. He may have run out. But Hazara going to make the move on Maspala for the lead of the Grand Prix. And this is... Oh, and he's been tapped as well by Maspala. Maspala's tapped Hazara. He's managed to keep it, though. But it's that turn one. It's the breaking points. They're doing it a little bit too later. And if you do it too late and the other car doesn't break in time, it's a domino effect that you will hit them. And there has been a few spinners on the occasion of this. But does manage to keep it at the moment, but he will know, Byron, that Maspala is right behind him, and he's gonna want to. He's gonna want this win. He deserves the win, but Hazara has been phenomenal. He has made so many places up, but there could still be more drama here because Devin and NLR Justin and Marios are just there in the wings as well.
Absolutely, and virtual safety car now. I'm not sure quite what for. Top G appears to have lost his front wings. I believe that's spinning through the two Lesmo corners. So unfortunately there for Top G having lost a nose, that is going to be a pretty miserable end towards this race for Top G. And it does mean that if you are Top G, your chance of points has pretty much gone up and up in flames. But a little reset, maybe a little opportunity for some drivers who don't have the biggest battery to recharge ever so slightly and give themselves a little bit of juice to fight with as Top G gets a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And that normally only means one thing. That normally means a pit lane retirement. So Top G, I think, going to be a pit lane retiree possibly in this race as Evil also comes into pit lane. So I believe they might have had a tangle between the two of them because they've both decided to come in, change their front wings, but that virtual safety car still not lifted. So they do get a cheaper pit stop, but it's not really going to matter all too much. They're not fighting for points as we get back under green flag running on lap number 25 of 27. And this is great for some drivers because they're on a DRS straight, so they've got DRS immediately and already back in the hunt. And Caroselli has managed to gain a little bit of time under that virtual safety. I don't believe anyone got a drive-through penalty for speeding under that, so that's always very nice and reassuring to have. But all of the drivers from P1 all the way down to P6 here in a lovely train, in a lovely battle for the race win. Will it be Hazara? I mean, Hazara has been going brilliantly in this race. We did say the race pace, but Maspala wants this for themselves and does make a very nice and very clean overtake there up into P1 there as Caroselli there battles and loses a couple places there versus Me/Slash and OP Twist. These guys very much looking like they're going to be more towards the back of the grid as Griglik there loses place battling with Larpa YT there all the way down in 12th there. So unfortunate for them, but we are getting towards the end of the race and Hazara has lost a second to Maspala. That is very surprising indeed. Maspala had brilliant pace in this race, but Hazara just has dropped off, and I wonder if that's a mistake that's caused that, because that seems like a massive margin to lose across just one racing lap. But it does unfortunately mean that Hazara is not going to get DRS down this straight. It really piles on the pressure for Hazara, but it does take the pressure off the likes of Maspala, who now is 1.4 seconds into the lead and really doesn't have to worry all too much about the driver behind.
No, correct. It's really hurt Hazara, and here comes Devin. Devin's going to take it. And this could be a podium lost or P2 lost for Hazara, which is really unfortunate because he's got NLR Justin as well just behind him. And I think NLR Justin will attack Hazara as much as he can. And this is probably going to bring Maspala with the win here, which is a massive race. He's done so well. And 5 margins again, isn't it? Just one little mistake there. And you can see NLR Justin right behind Hazara. So if he makes one more mistake, he could end up losing. Unless just the next mistake, just a little bit of a snap. It's close though. We are on the final lap of PSGL Monza, round number 6, and Hazara is trying to push on. I don't think he's up. He's actually running low on fuel as well. That fuel light is going. So has he underfueled? Is he going to run out of fuel? This is going to be the question. Maspala looks like he's got the win here. What is Justin going to do? Is he going to be able to attack? Doesn't look like he is. Hazara is really pushing on for Devon. He's burning everything. He's going to make the move in a parabolica. And they're going side by side, and he's taking them off the track. And Justin goes through into P2. Marius gets P3, and more drama at the end. You thought Top G had a bad race. Well, what happened there with Hazara? Went for the audacity move and actually drove the other guy off into the track. He's gonna be fuming. Stewards are gonna have a interesting one with that, my friend. Byron, what was your thoughts to the end there? A little bit of calamity, I would say.
Yeah, definitely a calamity there, but an NLR 1-2 there. Maspala leading ahead of Justin Marios, though. Third, that's really disappointing for Hazara as well. Didn't need to make that overtake to gain points on Marios. Well, decided to go for it, and just nothing came of it. But Caroselli, I mean, my driver of the day, if I had to give one, it's got to go to Caroselli. Took pole, led for a couple laps, had a massive incident all the way down to the back of the grid. Really wasn't looking like there was going to be anything worth getting out of this race, but came back and got points on debut. So Caroselli there, my driver of the day. I mean, who's your driver of the day?
I would say it's a tough one because I love to see, obviously, I was looking at the standings and to see that Maspala obviously got the win. Obviously a very, very good qualifying as well, but Marios as well got a little bit caught up in that situation with the pit stop on the safety car as well, so he done pretty well. But it's got to go to Justin. Justin, he was just stuck back and made 9 places, so yeah.
I would agree. A worthy contender for driver of the day. Well, your vote for your own driver of the day in the chat. But a disappointing race for some, but elation for others. Monza, that is what it does, though. It always brings up a few surprises, but it was Maspala there who took the win in Monza, but it didn't go with had that race lead at some point in the race, but Justin there comes in second, rounding off that NLR 1-2 as mentioned. Marios, though, third place, gained 2 positions on that last lap and finishes where they started, but there's a lot of missing information between that because unlucky safety car, brilliant race pace, but not quite able to get anything better than third. Kahilu there, Hazara obviously losing places on that final lap with an audacious overtake that didn't need to be made, but nonetheless down to 5th for Hazara. Fuselo there in 6th, OP Twist 7th, Caroselli points on debut, hats off, started on pole, down in 8th, but that is still a good result there for Caroselli on debut. CPI Devon 9th, and Lapa YT rounding out that top 10 and getting the last point, the fastest lap, not even in the top 10, so not going to be awarded for this round. But what a race that was. I mean, that is a difficult one to even process and think about. Those drivers, they just battled hammer and tong, start to finish, but Maspala, what a end to the race, really took that race by storm right at the end, took the race lead, and just walked away with it, ran away with it, and brilliant from them. I mean, what were your overall thoughts of that race then?
Yeah, I thought the DRS change, there was a few DRS change, which was obviously very difficult for the guys to make the moves, to make the overtakes, and I think it was going to be very Interesting to see, obviously, on the qualifying who was going to get that main spot. Obviously, we saw the Alfa Romeos in Caroselli and Marios dominate in that qualifying. Didn't go to plan for a few of them. Caroselli making that mistake, having that little bit of a spin as well. Then you had Marios that got done over in the pits as well, that pushed him back. So he was going to have an uphill struggle. Hazara, after a phenomenal race, decided to make a very audacious move right at the end. You could see he had the speed on Devin, but unfortunately, I think he locked his brakes and went straight into Devon, which then led to Justin to get the P2. But a phenomenal race from Mispalo as well. He just kept at it in that P1 and P2 spot and just worked at it. And it was just basically just minding his own business and waiting for the DRS for the time. A really, really good race by some of them. Obviously, I said CPI Top G, really unfortunate for him. Obviously, had such a good race very early on, then having that spin, and then going from bad to worse and having another spin and actually nearly causing a massive incident coming out the sausage curbs in Sector 2, which is really unfortunate. And then retired at the end, and same with Aaron as well. Very disappointing night for them. But, Williams driver of Mispala, Justin and Marios are there. Very, really good performance by them. But all in all, a really, really good race. Conditions was very interesting. It looked like it was going to rain. It never did. Congratulations to all top three, and especially to Mazar. Great race by the Williams driver.
Absolutely. I mean, we have one last dance now before we take a bit of a Christmas break. We do head this time next week to Singapore for round number 7 of the championship. It will be the final race before we take a Christmas break, but then we'll be back in January, on January 4th for PC as they head. I don't actually know where they head to, so I think it's Spain. But if you also want some more racing action, we have E-Series on Wednesday. That is going to be tackling... Oh, I should know this, because I definitely made a post about it. But E-Series will be heading, I believe, it might even be Singapore actually, as well. But you've got plenty of action on Wednesday and Thursday this week, and obviously you have the GT7 Cup tomorrow, so you got plenty of PSGL action beyond just PlayStation and beyond just PSF3. But what a race that was! Be sure to tune in this time next week when we head to Singapore. But until next time, from all of us at PSGL, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Until then, though, bye bye.